Chapter 56, The First Debate. Sunday, April 16th, 2023, 8:47 p.m. As the final few onlookers filter into the courtroom, Bailiff Griffo stands and slams the butt of his spear on the ground with a loud bang, with a wink at his girlfriend in the audience. "All rise for the Honorable Judge Dinodad," he shouts, gesturing at a side door, which opens as Dinodad strides into the room wearing a black robe and sits in the high chair at the front of the room. Both parties, Beorning and Gilfarnon for the defense, Brigho and his lawyer Larry for the prosecution, sit down as well opposite to one another and make their final deliberations before the trial begins. "So you have our strategy planned out, right?" whispers Beorning. "I just figured I'd wing it," replies Gilfarnon, who is dressed in his full lawyer regalia, including pointy hat. "Technically, there aren't any laws in Swanfleet yet." Beorning puts his head in his hands. Meanwhile, Brigho and Larry are whispering to one another as well. "You see that?" says Brigho haughtily, pointing at Gilfarnon. "That's what passes for a lawyer amongst these dirtbloods. Ha!" Dinodad bangs his gavel on the table, calling everyone to order, but for a moment he doesn't say anything. Finally, he points at the jury table and says, "So, are they coming?" The doors of the courtroom burst open as Isengriff and Lindenrow kick them in and lead the Fellowship of McCabbage toward the stand. "Guilty!" shouts Isengriff, seemingly out of nowhere. "Please sit down, Mr. McCabbage. The trial hasn't even started yet," says Dinodad impatiently. "Yeah, I know. I just wanted to say that," replies Isengriff, sitting at his seat with the rest of the jury. "Those guys are the jury?" whispers Gilfarnon to Beorning. "This is great. We have this in the bag. They loved your Beatui. He already said I was guilty," hisses Beorning. "I object to the makeup of this jury," shouts Brigho, rising to his feet. "There isn't a single Purebody among them. How can they be trusted?" "Objection, Your Honor," echoes Larry. "These vagrants have a clear bias." "I just said that, you goon," snaps Brigho, slapping his progeny across the face. "But I'm your lawyer, Dad. Speak when spoken to." "Overruled," sighs Dinodad, ignoring their antics. "We chose them because they're outsiders. They have no opinion one way or the other." "What about Halbo and Romalda?" says Gilfarnon, ignoring Beorning's shushing motions. "They were with us the whole time." "Look, it's too late to change the jury composition, okay?" says Dinodad. "This is about as objective as we're going to get, so we're just going to move past it. Do we have any other objections?" "I object," starts Brigho before quickly being cut off by Dinodad. "Any objections that aren't based in racism?" Brigho sits down. "All right, well, we've never had a trial before," says Dinodad, realizing he probably should have planned this better. "What do we do next?" "I vote we cross-examine witnesses next," suggests Lindenrow. "Well, we aren't voting on it," says Dinodad. "Hey, buddy, last I heard we were the jury," snaps Isengriff. "All in favor of doing witnesses next?" The other members of the jury raise their hands hesitantly. "All right," says Isengriff. "Begin cross-examination." Larry looks down at his carefully prepared opening statement and sighs sadly as he crumples it up and throws it in the bin. "All right, I suppose the prosecution will go first," says Dinodad. "The prosecution calls Geralt of Mossward," shouts Larry theatrically. The crowd gasps audibly. "Objection!" shouts Gilfarnon. "He's too old!" "Overruled," sighs Dinodad. "I object to your objection, Sonny," snaps Geralt irascibly as he hobbles up to the witness stand. "I'm as young and virile as anybody." "You don't make objections, Mayor," says Dinodad, but no one is really paying attention. Larry stands up in front of Geralt and looks at him intently before saying, "Let me ask you, Mr. Mayor, when did you first hear about bees?" "They've been around for all 20 years of my short life," says Geralt hoarsely. "Objection!" shouts Larry, further confusing what that word even means. "Everybody knows that the first bee was created by Mormo Purebody. It is written in the Book of Mormo itself." "Your Honor, this is clearly baseless," objects Gilfarnon. "I motion to stop this line of questioning." "Upheld," says Geralt. "I'm the judge here, Geralt," snaps Dinodad. "But, yeah, okay, upheld. Your religious text isn't valid in a court of law, Larry." "This is an outrage!" screams Larry, tearing at his hair wildly. "I move to burn down the courthouse." Brigho pulls out his whip and gives Larry a few good lashes. Overruled, he snaps before continuing in a lower voice. Not yet. Can I leave now? Asks Geralt. It's time for my prune bath. I mean normal bath. Let him go, guys, shouts Geralt's son, Gerald, from the audience. He gets real cranky without his prune bath. Sure, go ahead, says Dino Dad before stumbling over his words a bit and continuing. I mean, upheld. Damn it, just go. Do you have any more witnesses, Larry? Just one, shouts Larry, coming to his feet and dripping blood everywhere from his lash wounds. The prosecution calls Lothar Purebody. Who? Says Baragond. The audience mutters amongst themselves, seemingly sharing the sentiment. But a few moments later, the identity of this Lothar Purebody is revealed as the courthouse doors open and a strange lump of hobbit flesh slides in, oozing pus everywhere as it crawls up to the witness stand, leaking fluids all over it. Ah, fuck, says Dino Dad, losing his composure for a minute. That stand was brand new. Jesus Christ, says Lindenrow. That's disgusting. Objection, shouts Brigho. The jury is insulting my son. Overruled, says Dinodad, covering his nose to block the creature's stench. He's right. Stop, says Larry. He's very sensitive. Indeed, the lump seems to have begun oozing tears. This doesn't help, though, and actually makes it look even more disgusting somehow. Nevertheless, the trial must go on. All right, Lothar, says Larry. On the night of the Great Victory Feast, were you or were you not present at the Great Hall of Pureovo? An orifice on the lump opens up and lets out a hiss of escaping air. Exactly, shouts Larry, apparently deriving some meaning from the sound. You see? Hang on, says Dinodad. Can we get a translator in here? Down in the audience, Lindo floats translatively. You speak lump, Lindo? Asks Dinodad. He's actually fluent in over 9 billion languages, offers Gilfarnan. Are there that many languages? Asks Dinodad. Not yet, mutters Isengriff. Quiet from the jury, snaps Griffo. Who are you? Mocks Isengriff. Dinodad, says Bingo, who has actually been sitting in the corner quietly recording a transcript of the proceedings the whole time. How do you spell what the lump said? Oh, hey, Bingo, says Halbo. I didn't see you there. Yeah, Dinodad made me court scribe. It's so cool. Wow, that is really cool, says Tubi. Did you get a merit badge for it? Nope, I don't think there's a merit badge for Shut up, shouts Dinodad. Can't you people just shut up for 5 fucking Sorry, lost control for a bit there. Where were we? We were getting Lindo to translate for the lump, says Baragond helpfully. No, that was the only question I had for him, says Larry. Dinodad sinks just a little lower in his chair as the lump slides away. All right, he sighs wearily. Let's just take a recess so we can clean the fucking witness stand. Recess, says Bingo hopefully. For fuck's sake, Bingo, you're 27, snaps Dinodad. A few minutes later, as they're standing around outside the building, Baragond asks Gilfarnan, So how do you rate our chances? I'm not gonna lie, responds the High Elf. I'm not entirely sure what's happening. Me neither. But I can tell you one thing. Our witness is going to blow this whole thing wide open. Let's hope so. Nearby, Halbo, Tubi, and Bingo are huddled together showing each other the merit badges they've earned since they last met. Romalda and Boromir watch them looking vaguely disgusted. This is a complete waste of our time, says Boromir. This is important, Boromir, trust me, says Isengriff, walking up to them along with Lindenrow. You know what's really important? Says Talfrin, sliding up to them. Swanfleet elections tomorrow. Do I know you? Says Lindenrow. They'll determine the entire course of this alliance, he continues, ignoring Lindenrow. I'm running myself, actually. Here, have a pamphlet. He hands Isengriff a campaign pamphlet and walks away to go bother someone else. What the fuck? Says Isengriff, tossing it on the ground. Anyway, no matter the outcome of this trial, you know what we'll have, Boromir? Less time to deal with Sauron? No, legal precedent. It's just what we need to serve our own suit against Saruman. Captain Shire falls down the steps of the courtyard and breaks his leg. Oh, winces Glorfindel. That looked painful. Maybe we should call off the trial. The law waits for no one, Glorfindel. Cap will just have to push through it, says Isengriff. What did I do to deserve this? Says Captain Shire, crawling back into the building as court is called back into session. All right, recess is over, shouts Dinodad once they're all in. But Dinodad, I'm winning, says Bingo from the corner where he, Tubi, and Halbo are currently playing Foursquare. Get back to your desk right now, snaps Dinodad. The three little guys all exclaim, "Aw, man," but do as he says. All right, the defense will now call their witnesses to the stand, says Dinodad, feeling a fool's hope that maybe things can get back on track. Thank you, Your Honor, says Gilfarnan. The defense calls Lindo to the stand. Everyone gasps as Lindo floats up to the witness stand to testify. Thank you for your time, Lindo, says Gilfarnan. I know you're a very busy cloud. Lindo floats agreeingly. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, says Gilfarnan, turning away from Lindo to look at the fellowship. I ask you, has Lindo ever led you wrong or made any false statements? No way, shouts someone from the audience. Exactly. Now that we have established his credibility, I'm going to recall the events of the victory feast for you all. He explains the events of that night in perfect detail, right down to the names of each individual dish that Beorning ate. Everyone in the room feels almost as if they have been transported back in time to experience the events themselves. Once he is done, the audience gives him a standing ovation. Thank you. Now, before I ask my question to Lindo, I actually have a question for Brigho. He turns to the prosecution. Were those the events as they were that night? Yes, that's right, Dirtblood. But like you said, we showed him our recipes and he stole them. Objection, says Beorning. I improved them. Everyone ignores him as Gilfarnan continues, turning back to Lindo. So, Lindo, has Beorning ever used a Purebody bee to make any of his recipes since he left Pureovo? Lindo floats in the negatory. I rest my case, Your Honor, says Gilfarnan, sitting back down. I have to say you're a pretty good lawyer, says Dinodad. You convinced me. Innocent. What the fuck, dude? Shouts Lindenrow angrily. We're the fucking jury! You can't take this from us! Do you know how much I sacrificed to be here? Teleporno was just about to... Isengriff covers his mouth before he can say anything else. Oh, right, my bad, says Dinodad. Objection, shouts Brigho. The judge is biased. Overruled, says Dinodad, ironically proving his point. I have one question, says Isengriff suddenly. The jury doesn't ask, starts Dinodad. But Isengriff cuts him off and turns to Gilfarnan. If I vote this guy innocent, will you take my case up against Saruman? You have a case? Asks Gilfarnan interestedly. Oh yeah, it's a whole thing. Copyright infringement, nasty business. Hang on, I thought you wanted him to be found guilty so we'd have stronger copyright law, says Dinodad. Well yeah, responds Isengriff as if this was obvious. But if I get this elf guy on my side, I figure that would even it all out. Objection, shouts Larry. This is clear bias and corruption. Yeah, fine. Upheld, says Dinodad. Now let's just vote. All right, says Isengriff, taking control of the situation. Here's how we're going to do this. We each take a scrap of paper and write on it the name of the person we want voted off the island. Then we put them all in a jar and Dinodad reads off the names one by one. Whoever has the most votes loses the case. Sure, why the fuck not, says Dinodad, finally just giving up. Go write down the names, I guess. The jury members walk out of the room in a single file line as dramatic tribal music plays in the background, and the camera pans out to take them all in. Also make sure to hold up your vote and explain why you made your choice, explains Lindenrow. It'll improve ratings. Romalda votes first and holds up her vote for the camera. Brigho. I'm pretty sure this is the person they want to lose, so I'll go with that, she explains before putting her vote in the jar. Boromir is next, but he just throws his hands in the air and leaves without voting. Halbo writes Brigho's name enthusiastically alongside a grumpy-looking frowny face. I think Brigho is an angry man who is trying to bring Beorning down for no good reason, he explains. Glorfindel is next and also votes for Brigho, but he misspells the name as Brigho. Vile little creature, he says as he puts the name in the jar. Fifth to vote is Captain Shire. In a shocking twist, he votes for Beorning. I don't know why I'm even bothering, he sighs as he puts his vote in the jar, getting a nasty paper cut in the process. Lindenrow votes for Brigho. I just want them to make an example of him, he explains spitefully for the audience back home. Really grind him into the ground. Tubi also votes for Brigho. I've done a lot of thinking about it, and I think that after weighing the facts, he's definitely in the wrong, legally speaking. he says. Duppy pecks the page a few times and clucks in a way that translates to, "Am I even on the jury?" Last to vote is Isengriff. He writes his name down slowly before theatrically revealing it to the camera. Beorning. "I'm sorry, Beorning," he says. "You're too good of a player. Gotta look out for number 1. He takes the jar back into the courthouse and hands it to Dinodad. He also gives Brigho and Beorning each a torch that he obtained from somewhere before sitting down with the rest of the jury. "What are these for?" asks Brigho. "You'll see in a minute," says Isengriff mischievously. Once everyone is settled down, Dinodad pulls the first vote out of the jar and shows it to the audience. "First vote, Brigho." Once this has sunk in, he pulls out another and does the same. "Second vote, Brigho." Brigho sits in his chair fuming as the votes continue to roll in. "Third vote, Beorning," says Dinodad as a sudden shock chord plays. "That's 2 votes Brigho, 1 vote Beorning, 4th vote also Beorning." The camera pans on Gilfarnan and Beorning as they begin to sweat nervously, but quickly returns to the jury as Isengriff shouts, "Get fucking blindsided, woo!" 2 votes Brigho, 2 votes Beorning, says Dinodad, ignoring him in an attempt to get this over with as quickly as possible. He pulls out the 5th vote and reveals Duppy's chicken pecs to the audience. "I don't know what this one means." "Looks like Brigho to me," says Lindenrow. "Yeah, okay," says Dinodad, pulling out the 6th vote. "And the first person voted guilty in the history of this courtroom." He pauses dramatically before revealing the 6th vote. "Brigho Purebody, bring me your torch." "Objection," shrieks Brigho. "On what grounds? I don't want to lose." "Overruled." "Fuck you. Fuck all of you." Griffo runs over and puts out his torch as he falls to his knees and begins tearing at the floor in a rage. "This isn't over," he rants. "You'll all see. Tomorrow you'll all fucking see." Dinodad makes a mental note to ensure that Brigho doesn't win the election at any cost. "So, we won?" asks Beorning. "We won," agrees Gilfarnan, giving him a cheerful hug. "All right, everyone, get out of here. I'm sick of this," says Dinodad, taking off his judge uniform and leaving. "Congrats on getting the $1 million, Beorning," says Isengriff, as he and the rest of the jury walk up to congratulate the victorious defendants. "Wait, really?" asks Beorning. "No, but I do have this Arnorian coin," he says, holding it up. "It's my last one, though." "You already gave me one of those," points out Beorning. "Did I? Well, next mine, then." He puts the coin away and grabs Gilfarnan by the shoulders. "So about that lawsuit." Isengriff leaves the room talking Gilfarnan's ear off about his case, followed by the rest of the fellowship. Within a few seconds, Beorning is left alone in the empty courthouse. "Well," he says, feeling a little confused by all the crazy stuff that just happened. "Cool. I guess I better go tell Hank."